Welcome back, YouTube. The Kingpin of Cinema here. We're going to be finishing off our top best list of the Rise of the Eldrazi set.
Our overview and review of the whole set in general,
so I believe you're on your number 4 pick.
Yeah, my number 4 pick is Gul'Dra's Assassin. This is a vampire that levels up, and as it levels up, it gains new abilities, new powers. It's actually a very good ability. Its first ability is, well, it starts out as just a 1/1. But as you level it up, it becomes a 2/2, I think. But its ability is, you tap a black, tap it, a creature gets -2/-2 instantly. That'll kill a weenie creature. Then when you level up fully, it gets stronger, and gains the same ability to tap a black, tap it, a creature gets -4/-4.
-4/-4, which is insanely good.
So you can kill actually a relatively big creature with this vampire.
You're going to kill an insanely good number of creatures with that vampire.
So I honestly don't remember if we already went over the level up scheme. I think we did.
Yeah.
It's kind of like with the one Kithkin in the Shadowmoor set, but anyway, you just level them up to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, their cost is essentially you pay like 1 or 2. Their level will go up by 1, and depending what their level is, they'll get additional abilities. Moving on, for my number 4 pick is actually 2 cards. Draina.
That wasn't part of the deal. It was... Go on.
Yeah, whatever. So, Draina Kristra Bloodchief. Essentially what she does is you tap 2, and then X. And what that X does, target a creature gets -0/-X, and then Draina gets +X/+0. So, essentially, you're debuffing, killing your enemy, and she's getting bigger.
So X stands for gay.
X stands for awesome. And then combine that with Necrona Reverent. Essentially what she does is, all swamps produce an additional black mana. So every swamp's tapping for 2. Which is good for her because she essentially has the Nightshade ability where she gets +1/+1 for every black mana you spend to pump her up.
She has basically a built-in bubbling muck.
So essentially when you get these 2 together, you can basically kill anything on the field depending on how many swamps you have. If you have 8 swamps, you can kill the 15/15 by just debuffing them. So that's why that's in the top 4 slot, because they both work essentially so well together.
Alright, so you had a combo. For my number 5 pick, this is just a fun card I enjoy using. It's Pestilence Demon.
Motherfucking Pestilence.
It's just it costs 8, which is a little pricey, but I think for that price, what you get is pretty good. It's a 7/6 flying with a built-in Pestilence ability. You tap 1, deals 1 damage to everything. So if I'm playing against the Kingpin here in his green Overrun deck, with his many little wolves out in the field, I can just wipe them all out in one fell swoop.
Basically, 2 mana will kill all my wolves.
So I really like this guy, because he can clear the board for you, and just, if your opponents are using weenie decks or just small creatures, then you just clear the board. And even if you are at a stalemate, this guy can kind of win it for you. If your opponent is at least 1 life below you, then you could just keep willing them down indirectly with Pestilence Demon. Or at best, maybe just get a draw.
Yeah. That's actually a really good card. And 8 mana does seem a little bit intimidating, but thanks to the Eldrazi, getting that 8 mana is not hard at all. Alright, so my number 5 is the Brood Birthing. This is a common. It costs 1 red, 1 colorless. When you play it, if you have at least 1 Eldrazi
when the spawns
tokens out in play, you get 3. And so, in a series that's all about getting these big Eldrazi out, this spell is basically invaluable. So, if you have 4 out, you're 4 mana closer to getting the big Eldrazi out. So, that's essential. If you're going to have an Eldrazi deck, these are essentially essential to have in there.
I have an Eldrazi deck that's basically nothing but Eldrazi and any card possible that creates a token.
Yeah, we both...
Including those.
We both have Eldrazi decks that are red-green. You might as well just skip black altogether, because there's really nothing good in black.
Yeah, it has creatures and spells that bring in spawn tokens, but they're not nearly as good as the ones in red and green, because they cost too much, and the creatures that bring them out with them just aren't really as good compared to these guys.
The green and red are better at accelerating the tokens out in the play, whereas the black seems to kind of meander around.
Okay.
So moving on.
Which brings me which actually connects to my next pick, Brood Warden. It is a simple green creature. I think it's an uncommon, but these tokens, by the way, are all 0-1s when they come into play. But this guy, Brood Warden, he makes all your spawn creatures into 2/2s. Gives them +2/+1. So now, not only do you have creatures you can sacrifice to give yourself a lot of mana, now you actually have a decent number of attackers as well.
Yeah, and especially in our red-green decks, where at times you'll have about like 8 or 10 Eldrazi spawn tokens out. That's 10 creatures you can attack with.
Not to mention that there's a green card in here too that's kind of like Giant's Growth. Gives a creature +1/+1 for each creature you control. If you have a lot of those little spawn fucks out there, then you're going to make a creature very big.
Yeah, that card is insanely good. Next I have Jorga Tree Speaker. And this one is another level up creature. And when you fully level her up, you can tap her for 2 green, but all elves that you have get that ability. And that's insanely good.
Another reason to have Pestilence Demon to get rid of those fuck-ass elves.
Motherfucking elf decks. Every goddamn set, those fucking elves get one more card that makes them insanely good. Yeah. God damn it, I hate elf decks so much.
Okay.
But otherwise a good card.
Alright, let's move on. My last card on my list is actually one of the few things I don't like about this set, and that's the Planeswalkers. They dumped them down to no end. Sarkhan the Mad, I don't remember his abilities off the top of my head, but there's one that gives him, that neither gives him nor takes away counters. There's one that gives him or takes away 2, and I think one that takes away 4 or so, or 5.
And then one that does nothing.
Yeah. They really dumbed down these Planeswalkers. I mean, it's Sarkhan the Mad and a white one, and I mean, neither of them just are really that good, and we saw the white one in our card shop going for $40 fucking dollars.
They nerfed the Planeswalkers. They're not as good as all the ones that have come before, but they still cost fucking $40 to get.
I just didn't like what they did with these guys. It's like, why even bother put these guys in? And his ability doesn't really go well with this set. It's more of like a Jund ability.
Yeah.
Because it has to do with dragons. But so, yeah, I might put him in my Jund deck, but it's not a card I'm really going to readily rely on.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed in the Planeswalkers. Quickly, because we're running out of time here, Eldrazi Temple. This is basically just another card that helps get Eldrazi out. Basically, anything that you're paying for an Eldrazi spell, you tap this and it gives you 2 colorless mana other than 1. So that's a...
Well, actually, if you're going to talk about that, talk about the land from the previous set, World Wake, Isle of Ulamog, which makes colorless Eldrazi spells cost 2 less.
Yeah, so if you're going to have an Eldrazi deck, it's like mandatory to have both those lands.
Okay, anyway, we're running low, so let's just say, real quick, we love this set compared to the previous one. This one was fantastic. All new concepts, new creatures.
Likeable abilities, new abilities.
Yeah, new abilities that we actually like. Kind of sad, though, that they kind of deviated away from the original tribes they did. Like, not as many vampires. There are no allies in this set.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad to me.
They dropped the ally concept completely, and...
But honestly, I think they did as much with it as they could. So they actually did a smart thing by dropping it.
So yeah, essentially to restate our opinion, World Wake sucked and Rise of Eldrazi is a good purchase.
Wizards of the Coast, you redeemed yourself. Thumbs up. Alright, so thank you for listening. And hope to see you next time. We'll be back when the next set comes out. And we'll see how that one is. And if you don't like it, well, go fuck yourself.
Okay.